Hi, welcome here. This is my multilingual podcast, and I do have a question for you. Do you speak another language? I just have to talk real. And the real thing is, there are many problems in being a polyglot and in creating in many languages. So today we're talking about Polyglots Problems. But first of all, let's give you some context. Who am I? Why do I speak many languages? And why am I doing this podcast, for example? So, my name is Aline. I am formerly an actress. I have a whole graduation in theater in Brazil, so I speak Portuguese and not Spanish, as many of people think that we in Brazil may speak Spanish because the whole South America do speak Spanish, but we don't. And today I'm living in Germany, so I also speak German. And not only I speak German, but I am a German teacher. Why am I an actress and also a German teacher? Like, what am I doing here? And also making podcasts and YouTube videos? I guess for me, doing art and expressing myself and working with languages, it is all communication. So in my brain, it makes sense. I was always in love with cultures and traveling and getting to know another word and another expression of myself, another perspective, like this can be different. So long before I even start to go to the university, I was learning like French. I won't lie, I kind of hated learning English. I hate English. But look at me right now, using English for my life, basically. So I've realized in a young age, or at a young age, you see, I'm not a mother speaker, but I also speak English, and I am going further with my English. And despite my hate, or because I had to learn it as an obligation, I've also realized that this was necessary for my life, and I am leaving this necessity. You know what I'm saying? So when I started this podcast, like 2 years ago, when I moved to Germany, I was only wanting to do this in Portuguese, and was even such a relief because this was a space where I can speak my own language. Like, it was not that common anymore, and I felt like, oh my god, I just needed to talk with myself for an hour straight in Portuguese. And this podcast started kind of like this, with so many other reasons, and it continues because the reasons are also changing. But this was always such a pleasure. This whole project, this podcast, was always just like a spot for myself, like was very personal. It doesn't reach so many people, and it is to be very niched indeed. But then I also were like, how can this reach more people? I mean, not just because I want that this project grows, this as well, but I also wanted that honestly my friends that I'm making here, or my family that I have here, or people all around the world could also get these ideas, because it's a shame that if you don't speak my language, you won't get access to this very nice epiphany that I just had, but it was in Portuguese. So I started to add more languages. Like in my whole YouTube channel, I was like, it doesn't make any sense to do this in Portuguese anymore. I'm not living there. I honestly have other friends and community, and even Brazilians that I know, and they are my friend and my community and my students. They also speak other languages. So lange Rede, kurzer Sinn, I am basically overwhelmed with all the languages that I have going on in my life right now. I don't know what is going on today, but you have to bear with me because my cat is for the first time experiencing whatever this is, which is like a coming of age, and she is talkative. So we also have the language of the cats today. This episode is about this, the loss in translation, the very noisy situation where the passion that leads me to learn many languages were actually to be more understood and express myself more, and now I feel like I'm confused. I don't know how to express myself. I feel very dumb. I feel like I cannot put words in my feelings anymore, and I feel like my brain is very noisy, so I don't know what's going on. I don't know if I'm thinking in another language and then I'm speaking in another one, and then I have to translate for another one. So may I present to you problem number 1. Language comes with power, and I don't know if it is because when you are a child you cannot speak, and this is like a growing process, and you will respect people that know how to speak well and wisely, and this is something you can only approach or conquer even after experiences in life. So it comes with a power. It also comes from the society that we live in, where European languages, they sort of have more power than minority languages because this is so associated with the country itself and the economy and so far and so on. So the first problem that I face learning languages or being a polyglot or being an immigrant and having so many language confusion going on in my brain is that I feel like I'm always gonna feel this, and other people as well, that I am inferior or superior. If I say I speak German, people usually were like so impressed and they were like, how did you learn it? This language is so hard. Oh my god, you are so classy. Or menina, que chique você fala alemão. I don't know, they totally get it wrong because I honestly think that this is a language that happens to be so important for my life. Like my husband and then living here and then teaching this language, it feels like a very passionate language for me and very intimate, not feel like powerful at all, because I actually feel very not powerful when I speak German. I still do a lot of mistakes, and my whole work as a teacher is that I can continue to learn this language like forever because there's no way out. And people don't really get this. They feel like, oh my god, this is very chic. When I speak French or when I am speaking or learning any other of those European languages, they will usually be more validate instead of, hi, I do speak Portuguese. Like no one cares that I speak Portuguese and I speak Portuguese perfectly. Like, does anyone care? Like, they don't even know that Brazil speaks Portuguese because they are thinking we speak Spanish. So it's very uncomfortable, and this is something that triggers all what I already have. And I'm dealing with this in my therapy sessions, but all what I already have from being myself and feeling sometimes better than other people or sometimes worse than other people. And the language itself and the power that comes within triggers this in me. And maybe it can trigger in other people as well. So share with me if you also have this polyglot problem, please. So I know I'm not alone, but probably I'm alone in this one. So just wanted to point it out. Another example. I was in a group recently, I won't say so much more, and I kind of offered for we to work in English. Like, let's do this in English. Does anyone here is up to do this in English? And come on, this was like in Berlin, and this is a capital city, and we are kind of able to work in the whole Europe and go on tour or go out and work somewhere else, stuff like this. And people honestly haven't even looked me in the eyes when they told, I don't want to do this in English. And the people that wanted to do this in English, they were perceived like metidos, like ruaneses, and like, oh my god, those people wanting to do this in English. And I do get it. Like, I think English in general is such the most spoken language right now, and it has something in English that makes me feel like to see as well. Like, I feel like, oh my god, when I speak English, I am here and I'm like, I cannot let it go. I feel like I also put a mask on that I'm like speaking in English and this comes from all my references and I don't know, but period. So you got the thing, like, feels like people didn't really wanted to embrace this language because this language is like so everywhere already, and I also get it, but it's also very a common ground if you are not speaking each other's languages. So it's actually very nice to have this, like me and my husband, he is also speaking Portuguese and I also speak German clearly, but we do speak mostly like in a mix of languages, and I speak also mostly like in English with him and he speaks in English with me. This is like a common ground. We don't have to be like, I am making mistakes, because if I do make a mistake in German, he will notice. And even if he speaks very cute but he's making a mistake, I will also notice, I will laugh, or I will find it cute, but it is to be more attentive of the mistake of each other, and this is not a nice common ground for a nice and easy communication, especially in a relationship. So there's a lot of people shaming themselves for knowing or not knowing certain languages, and I do feel like this is the problem in being a polyglot, in being judged by the language that you speak and judged by the language that you don't speak. Another problem, of course, and here it starts to get messy, is that I don't remember the words. I'm struggling to find the words all the time, and this sucks. Like, what you see here is something that I edit, so you don't really even get it that I am doing mistakes over and over again, and I feel like I cannot switch my languages smoothly. Like, I do switch languages with my husband, but it is only because I prefer this word in German, and then I would say something in English, and then I would just say something in Portuguese. Like, he would get it because he knows the 3 languages that I also know. But mostly for everyone else, when I cannot access all of the 3 words so fast as I wish, I feel like I would struggle to find the words, and my vocabulary would be very, very poor, and I cannot switch directly. Like, I need my time to be like, all right, now is English. I need like an Aufwärmung. I have to, okay, let's prepare for this. Let's talk with myself, do some things that I feel like now I'm prepared for speaking in English for half an hour or how long. I feel like very stupid. While everyone else is telling me, you're so talented, you're so dedicated, oh my god, you're so smart, blah blah blah, und so weiter und so on. You know what? Today in this episode, I'm not gonna limitate myself if any Portuguese or any other language comes. Ich fühle mich jetzt besser. Los. So this is the problem of being like feeling dumb. And if I don't feel dumb because I'm forgetting the words, I'm like using the words that I remember, talvez em português, talvez auf Deutsch, and then people start to get a little pissed with me. They're like, I don't know what you're saying. I don't know. And I am like, yes, you don't know. And like, what is the problem? This is your problem. Don't project this on me. Like, they will start thinking that I'm like arrogant, and me, I'm just stupid because I cannot even find the words, and you think that I'm being an arrogant. Like, come on, komm schon. I do need an extra second or seconds to find what is the word that I'm looking for, and I find myself very often forgetting the words, not even in the languages that I have learned, but in my own language. I mean, since 2 years I'm not living in Brazil anymore, but I speak Portuguese like very often in my podcast, whenever I do videos or audios for my family and friends in Brazil. I work with Brazilians still here, even in Germany, so I speak Portuguese very often, and I'm still forgetting the words. This is so nervig. Honestly, this is so scheiße. Because I am like, this is my own language. How come? Como é que pode, gente? I am forgetting my own language, and the thing is, it is almost there. It is na ponta da língua, and I still can't remember. This is one of the worst feelings ever. I can only tell you this, that it feels like my brain is failing. And because of this, I feel like I can never express myself, like how I'm feeling anymore, who I am. I have all these languages, and I cannot express myself. People will never get me. And this is so crisis. I mean, I'm talking like real life crisis right now, okay? Hang on. I go somewhere, I meet new people. The first impression is so important. Whatever you say hits people. Like, words are so powerful, and the ability of really expressing like who you are and what you think, and not messing with the words. Like, this is so important for all, like for getting a job, for making nice friendships, for being still in a relationship. Like, communication is the skill, and I'm using this for all what I'm doing, and still I feel like this person don't really get me, because this person don't really get all the language that I have to offer. Like, how can I express this? Like, how can I make you understand that if you are now here listening this podcast, watching this video, you're listening me in English, you don't know my other personality, and this is such a shame. And I feel like we don't know, we're not close. You know nothing about me because you don't really know the Aline of Portuguese. And I'm sure I'm not the only one in this, because I work with people that are also like me, and because I teach people and I get the chance to see this happening with my students at all, and this is great because I don't feel alone in this. And I know that, for example, German is very famous for having words that only exist in German, so this is kind of the feeling that I have also, like the way that you express in this language, the way that you use the words and describe things is never gonna be the same. I have an example because this is not just in my head. It was Christmas and I have brought one thing and I really didn't need this, so I was like, you know what, you can have it. You can have it would be the English translation, but I was maybe in this moment thinking more in Portuguese, so I was like, você pode ficar com isso. Ai, não tem problema não. Quer ficar pra você? Which actually translated would be like, would you want to keep this to yourself? And I get it because this is already a problem. Like, keeping it to myself, it kind of needs to be already mine, so I keep it. And it's not anymore like, do you want to have it? So in German I did basically the same confusion. I was like, möchtest du das behalten? And behalten is like to keep it, like you already have it, so keep it. And it was because the person was already holding and I was like, möchtest du das behalten? And then the person was like, hey, das ist nicht meins. Warum sollte ich das behalten? And I was like, ja, also half a second later, mitbringen oder mitnehmen. Möchtest du das mitnehmen? So the person could einfach take it with her wherever she goes. And those are the things that I am like, when I am in the end of my day, I am overwhelmed. I've already listened a lot of other language for a very long time, and I need that people stop talking also around me. This is around our own experience being a bicultural couple and having so many cultures as friends and working with many people. I also felt very often like, you know what, I need my time alone from this conversation, and this doesn't need to be taken personally. It is only because my brain can't do this anymore. Like, this is a problem because actually will be very arrogant with people, like doing so, and people will again pursue me as someone that is more like shy, or I am not wanting to be in this conversation. And the thing is, I would want, but now I have so many thoughts already, and now my brain is like over, so it will not bring anything. Problem number, I don't know how. I don't know wie viel. You see the problem there, the problem of translation. It's so painful. I don't know. I hope you're getting this. I hope you're also a polyglot and you feel like, yes, she is putting words in my mouth because I don't have people putting words in my mouth. And that's a great thing, I guess. So yeah, let's move on. Next problem, talent. A lot of people call me génie. Oh no. Haven't you seen me like for the past 7 years studying every day, the whole fucking day? Like, come on. Like, I do think that I have an interest, and this is like for artists as well. A lot of people call this the gift. When someone is gifted, when an artist is very talented, then they will start thinking that this is luck, that the artist got there like alone, all by themselves, no effort at all. And I feel like maybe we are born with an interest, with a passion, but it needs us to go for it. It needs us to actually work hard and train the skills and practice so much. Meu Deus. And yes, there is a lot of privilege involved as well, because I had the privilege to have a German boyfriend, which helped me so much, or have his whole family, and being able to travel to Germany and being able to do a course in my university or out of my university. I was able to like afford books and find nice content. Some of the things you don't learn in a book. And I was privileged enough to learn, for example, German by being here and by having this family, by being the perfect like connection and bridge and dolmetscher even from my culture to this culture, from my people to this people. So I cannot ignore this. I guess the magic is like I had my passion, I studied so much, and I used the chances, opportunities, privileges that I had to be here right now. And while I'm here, I make sure to help others as well. And learning a language, just because it takes time, is already a privilege. So yeah, there is not one day that I'm not confused, lacking the words, feeling that there's something wrong with my brain, or feeling also I felt confused with the mix of languages in my life. I mean, how I create, and this whole problem of languages, I try just to embrace because they are part of who I am. A language is so part of who everyone is, and every language should be more respected, and we should try to learn the language of each other. Even though we speak the same language, there is always problems and lost in translation moments. I feel like we should just be making the effort of speaking each other's language, even when we speak the same language, because communication is a key for so many things. Today we talked about problems, I know, but I hope you're also aware of how many new opportunities and pleasures learning a new language or knowing a new language can bring, like getting to know many places, traveling more, feeling integrated, having the chance to work somewhere else or build a community, or having your family, your friends somewhere else, feeling like you belong to somewhere, because languages, they are honestly identity. And it feels like, as far as I'm struggling with the many languages that I am having, I'm also more and more trying to embrace them, that they are like, those are all my identities, all my experiences. I have all this possible multiple ways to express myself and understand everyone, and not just the language itself, but the process of learning it and the experiences of getting it wrong, making mistakes in front of everyone else, having to do mimic to be understood. This all brings me the feeling of I am capable of expressing myself to a certain point. A communication never happens just because of me. It happens because someone is listening and willing to understand me and loves me and get me. And this is the magical about being a human, being in a relation, being social, and being honestly someone that creates something for the internet, and a teacher, and also an artist. Like, I make music, I'm an actress, I love reading and writing. It feels like I'm knowing who I am and offering the people a chance to know who I am as well, even though maybe you don't speak my language or one of my languages. And a lot of people will get confused, and I get it. They will see my content and they will be like, what the fuck, I will unfollow, or I don't belong here, I feel now so excluded from the content that this lady is doing. And I get it, because I don't see so many multilingual people out there, or multilingual podcasts. If you do have a recommendation, please leave here below, because I would love knowing people that are more creative and sharing the visions around the world. I honestly, just Damon Dominic comes to mind, because he is an American, he's a travel YouTuber, and he lives in Paris right now, and then he speaks French, but he also speaks so many other languages. Alice da Vega, she also speaks many languages, but then the content itself is about this. It's not like someone trying to make art. And it just happened that I am an immigrant, and just happened that I know many languages, so I could do this in another language. So it's a journey. It's a journey that I'm trying to embrace, and I guess being open about the problems makes me realize that they are not really problems. They are part of our world and community. And yes, shockingly, there are many languages in this world. And sorry, but if I'm making someone uncomfortable because this person realized that it does not speak my language or any other language, I guess this is also part of my job. I guess this is also part of the change that I want to provoke in people with my art, with who I am, with my expression, because I am different. And I am realizing that there are many other people in this world that are very different from me as well. And that's just how it is. Thank you so much for being in this podcast. If you do have a reference or recommendation, if you maybe know someone else doing a multilingual podcast as well, let me know. And I see you. I understand that maybe it is very hard to be here when I am not like consistently having a schedule. For example, every week will be 2 episodes, one of them in English, one of them in Portuguese, or I don't have like, for me, for now, a moment in my life that I feel like I'm gonna do 3 in German and then 2 in Portuguese and then 1 in... I don't have this. Like, I am doing like with the flow. It's very hard when I have a blank page in front of me, when I have to hit record and I feel like I'm gonna exclude anyone, like so many, if I just pick one language. Should I insist in even more languages, or I have like a schedule so you know which language can come monthly, like maybe just to keep a balance? I don't know. I feel like I'm doing this very intuitive, and the people that are vibing with, they are sticking around, but I honestly want your opinion. Like, what would you do if you would be in my position? Or if you have other references, maybe you know a better way to deal with this polyglots problems. And I honestly hope that this also helped you. If you are honestly yourself someone that also struggles with 1 or 2 languages and you feel like you are misunderstood, or you don't know any language, or you feel like you're very dumb sometimes, I see you. You're not alone. Maybe you also have a friend which is also learning another language, whom is also struggling with multiple languages, so you can also share with your friends and family. Let me know in the comments if you speak another language. What is your native language? What is the language that you are learning? And maybe if my podcast also helped you practice or learn a new language, or just inspire you, we can also chat much more about languages in this podcast as well. So I'll be there. I'll be here. See you next time. Bye.